Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday Recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online, where I spend about an average amount of time in EVE Online. Of course, focusing quite a little bit on industry at the moment, trying to make some munitions, some small ships, some other modules as well, and try to sell them on the market. And I am having a bit of an impact there because some of my sell orders are now staying up a lot longer than they did when I first started that in like the first few weeks or so of doing industry on a daily basis and then going to places to try and sell my stuff. So it's pretty interesting to see how I am now starting to basically flood the market a little bit, cause prices to go down, cause margins to go down. And so I need to try to diversify, I think, a little bit more, especially I think in the items that I try to make, although the missiles are still really popular and have decent margins from the get-go. So from your industry jobs themselves, you can see that you get a very healthy margin, and quite often you can sell them at an even higher price. So I'll need to diversify, and we also took a first look at Tech 2 production, of course. Basically my plan is going to be to get all of those components, BPOs, try to research those as well at a certain pace, because I still want to make copies. Of course, those still sell like crazy, especially for the Orca, for the freighters, and even the structures still do decently well. So as a result, I'll need to find a way to combine both copying and improving some of the blueprints that are needed for Tech 2 production, and then we'll see how we continue this industrial experiment. Of course, to try and fund all of that, at the moment what I also try to do is a bit of exploration on the site, and that has been a very bad week. I think one of the worst weeks that I can possibly remember. During the weekdays I found absolutely nothing, not a single good combat site, so I was forced to go into refuges to hope for some escalations. Those went into 0-0, and then hope for some decent data sites. That kind of worked out. Data sites still pretty regularly show up, and you do get some half decent containers there, but yeah, this was one of the worst weeks in memory for me for exploration. Absolutely nothing dropped. On the weekend I got like a vigil, a 3 out of 10, got 0 when it comes to the drop, so that was very disappointing, a bit of a surprise. So I'm thinking of switching back to some conduit running at this point. A new set of implants is out as well, so perhaps we get a little bit more value out of the stuff there as well, and we'll see if that's basically a better income at the moment than exploration. Usually I manage like at least a 50 million drop or so on a weekly basis. That is very much what I usually have, but last week absolutely nothing. I did see quite a bit of competition, so what may explain this is just there's a general uptick, I think, in activity in the game. You get more competition, you see lots of healers flying around. Yep, that means that all those good sites do tend to be taken pretty quickly, and as a result my usual routine, which is to do one pass for like around a dozen systems, I would say, to see what the signatures are, and then if I find nothing good, I start to combine that with running the refuges, running the sanction dens and things like that, and then I do a second round hoping for new signatures to pop up, and then usually at least a couple come in, and at least a couple of those tend to be good combat sites. Last week we had none of that, unfortunately. We did have a new patch that dropped as well, which I think means that I should look at the conduits, because the rattlesnake got buffed. The specialist in conduit running got a 5% buff to heavy missile damage, so that's going to be pretty interesting, I think, to take a look at as well, if we can eke out maybe a slight improvement on the fit, because it is over tanked the way I have it now, and if the heavy missile buff makes a noticeable difference in running the new conduits, well, relatively new conduits around us. So we'll see. That's maybe something that we'll take a look at. And then the patch has a PvP element. We'll see. It's a very short term event where you get special sites for missile ships in low sec. I'll try to make some time, and I'll try to find a motivation to go after one of those sites, probably in something like a Drake. We'll see if that works out. But yeah, looking forward to what's coming next. And at the moment, yeah, kind of surprised. Of course, this patch actually dropped a lot of other stuff as well, like the slave implants and that buff to the missiles, to the heavy missiles. Lots of unexpected things basically. And so right now we still don't know what CCP is planning, but they're dropping lots of well, unexpected stuff, I would say, in their patches at the moment. This brings me to the second game that I played last week. I basically did some more Elder Scrolls Online, going through the Elsewhere expansion, at least the main storyline there. I do really enjoy the Necromancer gameplay at this point. It is pretty obvious that he's a hybrid that can support very well. He has heals, he has the ability to get rid of bad debuffs and things like that. But he has decent damage solo-wise. This is also a pretty strong class that's got really good AoE, as I'm finding out now. So pretty interesting stuff, but also not something that I can keep going with, because EVE Online is my main MMO, and trying to go hardcore in a second MMO just isn't something that I have the time for at this point. So it's a very interesting revisit. I absolutely love ESO myself, and basically I made a whole series for that for the next month. Hopefully that'll work out. It's going to be a little bit of a test, and it's a great game, honestly, especially if you can pick it up on a good sale from Steam. Then I really think it's very high value. The amount of content that you get from the base game and from each of these expansions is pretty mind-boggling for the price. So no subscription there, which is a very big plus, of course, for the Elder Scrolls Online. And I personally can enjoy this as an Elder Scrolls experience, where I just go through the game a little bit. No need to rush to max level or to get the base gear or anything like that. Just enjoy the quests, enjoy the story that's being told, and enjoy just the general atmosphere in the game. Despite the fact that it has those MMO limits to it, the MMO drop system and things like that, I really can get lost in the Elder Scrolls Online, just enjoying it for the Elder Scrolls lore experience and things like that. On top of that, they just announced a new expansion coming this summer, this one focusing on a part of Skyrim and a vampire storyline. Well, I think I'll keep an eye on it, and then perhaps I'll wait a little bit longer, try to grab that on a sale, and then take another look at the Elder Scrolls Online. Definitely something that is worth revisiting, in my opinion. And that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.